poisoned inheritance. Stop for a moment and look at your life. The job you work, the relationships you hold, the way you think about success, failure, morality. How much of it is really yours? And how much of it was given to you by voices that whispered since childhood? Be patient. Respect everyone. Just be yourself. Everything happens for a reason. These voices disguise themselves as wisdom. Teachers, parents, mentors, leaders, all passing down sayings that sounded noble. But Niccolo Machiavelli would call them by their true name, lies. Lies designed not to protect you, but to control you. Why? Because societies do not function when everyone seizes power. They function when most stay compliant, predictable, and harmless, while a few ruthless individuals take what they want. And the easiest way to keep you docile is not with chains, but with comforting deceptions. 500 years ago, Machiavelli wrote The Prince. It was so controversial that many called it evil. Why? Because it exposed these hidden truths of power that polite society still tries to bury. Machiavelli shattered illusions. He showed that the world doesn't reward goodness, patience, or blind respect. It rewards those who see through the fog and act ruthlessly when others hesitate. English, auto-generated, for da. And today, the same fog surrounds you. If you still believe these four lies, you are already losing. But if you tear them apart, you can reclaim what was always yours. Power. Let's begin with the first lie. The first lie. Good things come to those who wait patience. Humility. Trust the process. You've heard it endlessly. Just keep your head down, do the right thing, and eventually life will reward you. It's a beautiful story, but it's a story designed to keep you passive. Machiavelli would laugh at this lie, because he knew fortune favors the bold, not the obedient. Waiting is not noble, it is surrender. Every second you wait, someone else moves. While you hesitate, someone hungrier seizes the opportunity. While you dream of the perfect time, someone else acts in imperfect conditions and still wins. History does not remember the patient, it remembers the bold. Think of Julius Caesar. He didn't sit quietly, waiting for Rome's elite to hand him power. He took it. Or Alexander the Great, who didn't wait to inherit his father's throne. He launched campaigns while barely out of his teens, carving his empire into history. Now contrast that with the millions who waited. The men who said, "Not yet, maybe tomorrow, maybe when conditions improve." Where are they? Forgotten, buried in graves without names, leaving nothing behind but wasted potential. The trap of virtue. Why is this lie so powerful? Because waiting feels safe. It protects you from rejection, from failure, from risk. It allows you to cloak cowardice in the costume of virtue. Society benefits from your patience. Employers want obedient. Workers who don't demand more. Governments want citizens who accept their place. Competitors want rivals too timid to act, so they all repeat the same command. Be patient. Good things come to those who wait. But here's the harsh truth. Nothing comes. Nothing ever comes unless you take it. Modern proof. Consider two candidates applying for the same promotion. Candidate A has the stronger resume. He submits his application, waits politely, and trusts his work will speak for itself. Candidate B is average on paper, but she follows up, networks, demonstrates her value aggressively. Who gets the job? Always candidate B. Why? Because the world does not reward quiet merit. It rewards bold visibility. The same is true in business. Entrepreneurs who wait for perfect conditions die in obscurity. The ones who launch imperfectly, adapt, and move fast, they dominate. Even in relationships, the ones who wait for the right person to appear end up alone. The ones who pursue, risk rejection, and act, they find love. Machiavelli's principle is merciless but true. Respect and success come not from waiting, but from taking. English, auto-generated, for die. The Machiavellian counter. So how do you destroy this lie? Replace waiting with relentless action. Stop asking, when will my time come? Instead ask, what can I seize today? Create a bias toward movement. Launch before you feel ready. Act before you're certain, because action creates results, while waiting creates nothing. Machiavelli himself wrote, "It is better to act and repent than not to act and regret." Every empire, every fortune, every legacy was built not by those who waited, but by those who dared. The uneasy realization. Now I'll ask you a question you won't like. How much of your life has already been lost to waiting? How many dreams have you buried under the excuse of patience? If you're honest, you'll feel the sting, because waiting is the greatest thief of power. And here's the ruthless truth. Predators feed on those who wait. Hunters eat the hesitant. So the choice is clear. Keep waiting and remain prey, or act now and join the hunters. Drop this in the comments. I take action now. I will not wait for permission. And tell me, do you think Machiavelli was right, that fortune favors the bold? Or do you still believe patience is a virtue? Your answer will reveal whether you're already on the path to power or still trapped at the bottom. The second lie. Everyone deserves respect. Treat everyone with equal respect. It sounds noble, doesn't it? Parents, teachers, society, they drill it into you from childhood. Respect everyone no matter what. But Machiavelli would sneer at this idea, because respect, like power, is not free. It is earned, taken, and enforced. To give respect indiscriminately is to cheapen it, and to demand that everyone deserves it is the second great lie that keeps you weak. The currency of respect. Think of respect as currency. If you hand it out to everyone equally, it becomes worthless. What incentive does anyone have to be strong, disciplined, or dangerous if they will be respected regardless? Machiavelli saw this clearly. In The Prince, he argued that rulers must command respect, not by handing out kindness freely, but by inspiring fear when necessary. He knew respect was born from power, not generosity. Yet today, society tells you the opposite. Respect everyone. Why? Because a population that respects all equally never questions who deserves power. They bow automatically, and those at the top laugh because your respect means nothing to them while theirs is hoarded like gold. The lie of automatic respect. Let's be clear. Respecting basic human rights is not the same as respecting everyone equally. Machiavelli wasn't advocating cruelty for its own sake, but there is a difference between decency and respect. Decency means you don't harm without cause. Respect means you recognize someone's strength, authority, or value. And not everyone deserves that recognition. The coward, the parasite, the manipulator who contributes nothing, to respect them equally is to betray yourself. Fear and respect. Machiavelli asked the timeless question, is it better to be loved or feared? His answer, if you cannot be both, it is safer to be feared. Why? Because love is voluntary, fear is enforced, and respect that comes from fear lasts longer than the shallow respect that comes from courtesy. In other words, if you must choose between being liked and being respected, choose respect every time. Being liked wins friends for a moment. Being respected secures power for a lifetime. Modern proof. Look at workplaces. The manager who tries to be everyone's friend is ignored, walked over, disrespected. But the manager who enforces standards, who rewards strength and punishes incompetence, they may not be liked, but their team obeys and delivers results. In relationships, the partner who bends endlessly to keep peace is despised. The one who sets boundaries, who refuses disrespect, who walks away when necessary, that partner is respected. In politics, leaders who demand respect through vision, through ruthlessness, through strength, survive. Those who chase popularity are devoured. Respect flows upward, not downward, and it flows toward those who command it, not those who beg for it. Historical example. Consider Cesare Borgia, Machiavelli's infamous example in The Prince. Cesare was not universally loved, but he was respected and feared. When his territories risked falling into chaos, he allowed his cruel lieutenant to instill order with brutality. Then, when the dust settled, Cesare executed that lieutenant publicly, earning the respect of the people while securing stability. Was he loved? Perhaps not. Was he respected? Absolutely. And respect ensured obedience, which ensured survival. The trap of niceness. Here's the trap. People confuse being nice with being respected. But niceness without strength is invisible. Worse, it invites exploitation. Think of the colleague who always says yes, the friend who always agrees, the partner who tolerates endless disrespect. Do these people gain respect? No, they lose it. Niceness without boundaries is weakness, and weakness is never respected, only tolerated until it becomes irrelevant. The Machiavellian counter. So how do you break free of this lie? You stop giving respect automatically. You treat it as what it truly is, a prize to be earned. Respect those who demonstrate strength, courage, intelligence, or loyalty. Withhold it from those who drain, manipulate, or offer nothing in return. More importantly, demand respect for yourself. Do not tolerate disrespect, ever. When people cross your boundaries, you do not explain endlessly. You act firmly, decisively, even ruthlessly if necessary. Because once you tolerate disrespect, you train others to treat you as disposable. But once you enforce it, you train others to treat you as untouchable. Fear versus love in practice. Machiavelli's wisdom applies here with brutal clarity. People will test you. They will see how far they can go. If you let them push, they will push further. If you stop them, they will remember. It's not about cruelty, it's about consequence. When your boundaries have teeth, respect follows. When your boundaries are soft, you invite exploitation. The uneasy realization. Now ask yourself, how many times have you given respect to those who never deserved it? How many times have you let someone disrespect you, a boss, a partner, a so-called friend, without consequence? If you're honest, you'll see it clearly. Every time you let it happen, you lost ground. You taught others that your respect was cheap, your loyalty automatic, your boundaries non-existent. That ends today. The second challenge. Here's your challenge. Choose one person in your life who has been disrespecting you, subtly or directly. This week, enforce a boundary. Stop tolerating what you previously allowed. Don't explain. Don't beg. Act. You'll feel fear before doing it. But remember Machiavelli's truth. It is better to be feared than loved. Once you enforce respect, you'll taste something most people never feel: authority. But respect alone is not the only lie. There is another, even more seductive, the idea that being yourself is enough. That authenticity without strategy is power. This is the third lie, and it has destroyed more potential rulers than any enemy ever could. The third lie: just be yourself. From childhood, you've been told, just be yourself. That's enough. It sounds empowering, liberating, even comforting. But Machiavelli would scoff. Because in the ruthless world of power, being yourself without strategy is suicide. This is the third lie, the belief that authenticity alone will bring success, respect, or influence. In reality, raw authenticity is often weakness exposed. The maskless fool Machiavelli wrote that rulers must learn to wear masks. A prince cannot afford to reveal his every thought, every flaw, every desire. To show your true self at all times is to hand your enemies a map of your weaknesses. But society glorifies authenticity. Show your real self. Speak your truth. Let people see who you really are. That advice might feel noble, but it's naive, because the world doesn't reward naked honesty. It rewards appearances. The man who spills his emotions at every turn is not respected. He is pitied. The woman who shares her every insecurity is not admired. She is exploited. To be maskless in a world of predators is to be prey. The performance of power Machiavelli taught that appearances are more important than reality. A ruler must appear virtuous even if he is not. He must appear compassionate even when he plots ruthlessly. Why? Because people judge what they see. They cannot see your heart, only your mask. And the one who controls the mask controls the perception and therefore the outcome. Modern life is no different. The politician who wins votes isn't the most authentic. He's the most convincing. The CEO who inspires isn't the most honest. She's the most disciplined in her image. The influencer who dominates isn't showing reality. They're showing the mask you want to believe. Authenticity without strategy is vulnerability. Strategy without authenticity is manipulation. True power is the balance, controlling what you reveal, concealing what you must, and shaping how others perceive you. The seduction of comfort. Why does this lie persist? Because being yourself feels easy. It excuses laziness. It lets you avoid change, discipline, or growth. If you can simply be yourself, you never have to sharpen yourself into something greater. And society loves when you believe this, because a population that refuses to adapt, to strategize, to rise above themselves, that population stays compliant. It never threatens those in power. But history is merciless. Those who just were themselves vanished. Those who shaped themselves, crafted their image, and bent perception, they endured. Historical example. Think of Lorenzo de' Medici, the ruler to whom Machiavelli dedicated The Prince. Lorenzo wasn't powerful because he revealed his whole self. He was powerful because he revealed only what strengthened his position. He appeared generous while plotting control. He appeared approachable while remaining untouchable. That is why his dynasty lasted. That is why his enemies fell. Contrast that with leaders who revealed too much. Kings who showed weakness, generals who exposed doubts, rulers who confessed sins. They were destroyed, not by their flaws, but by revealing them. Modern proof. Look around today. The employee who complains openly about their struggles is ignored, while the one who projects competence is promoted. The person who overshares online becomes gossip fodder, while the one who curates their image commands admiration. The partner who constantly reveals insecurity pushes others away, while the one who balances vulnerability with strength builds respect. Authenticity alone is not power. Managed perception is. The Machiavellian counter. So how do you destroy this lie? You learn the art of the mask. This doesn't mean living a lie. It means choosing what to reveal strategically. It means showing strength when others look, concealing weakness until it cannot harm you, and always controlling the story told about you. Be authentic in private with those you trust absolutely. But in the arena of power, at work, in politics, in relationships, wear the mask that serves your rise. Machiavelli wrote, "Men judge more by the eye than by the hand, for all can see, but few can touch." In other words, people don't care about your inner truth. They care about what you show them. The uneasy realization. Now ask yourself, how often have you weakened yourself by being real? How often have you revealed too much, only to watch it used against you? Think back. A secret you told that later spread. A weakness you admitted that destroyed trust. A moment of vulnerability that made you look small instead of respected. Authenticity without strategy is a dagger handed to your rivals. The third challenge. Here's your challenge. This week, practice the mask. Choose one environment, work, school, relationships, and deliberately control what you reveal. Withhold something you'd normally share. Project confidence even if you feel doubt. Watch how people treat you differently. You'll discover something Machiavelli knew centuries ago. Power comes not from what you are, but from what you appear to be. But there is one final lie, the most seductive of all. A lie that convinces millions to surrender power willingly, even gladly. The lie that everything happens for a reason. This is the fourth poison, and it has destroyed more rulers, more empires, and more lives than any enemy ever could. The fourth lie: everything happens for a reason. When tragedy strikes, when failure crushes you, when betrayal cuts deep, society whispers the same comforting words. Don't worry. Everything happens for a reason. It sounds soothing. It dulls the pain. But Machiavelli would call it what it truly is: a sedative, a lie designed to keep you passive in the face of chaos. Because the truth is brutal. Things do not happen for you, they just happen. Fortune is wild, unpredictable, and often cruel. To tell yourself that events have some hidden cosmic meaning is to surrender your will to chance. This is the fourth and deadliest lie: the drug of fate. Why do people cling to this lie? Because randomness terrifies them. To admit that the world is chaotic is to admit that no one is coming to save you. That there is no script, no guaranteed justice, no cosmic fairness. So they invent meaning after the fact. They say, "It was meant to be," or "There's a bigger plan." These stories numb them. They turn victims into passive believers. But Machiavelli despised this attitude. He believed fortune was like a violent river, flooding, unpredictable, capable of sweeping away even the strongest kingdoms. The weak submit and drown. The strong build dams, redirect rivers, and fight fortune with preparation. To say everything happens for a reason is to stop building dams. It is to stop resisting. It is to let the river drown you, smiling as it does. The reality of chaos. History is merciless. Cities have burned not because of destiny, but because of greed, betrayal, or bad luck. Empires have fallen not because it was meant to be, but because rulers miscalculated, ignored threats, or believed their own illusions. Rome didn't collapse because fate decreed it. It collapsed because enemies grew bold while leaders grew soft. Princes didn't lose their thrones because of destiny. They lost them because they trusted the wrong allies or underestimated rivals. Ordinary men didn't fail because of the universe's plan. They failed because they waited, they hesitated, they excused. Chaos doesn't care about you, and believing that everything happens for a reason blinds you to the only truth that matters. Survival belongs to the prepared, not the faithful. The prison of surrender. This lie is the perfect tool for rulers, religions, and systems of control. Why? Because people who believe in fate are easier to rule. Tell a man that his suffering has meaning, and he will endure it quietly. Tell him his poverty is destiny, and he won't rebel. Tell him betrayal is part of the plan, and he won't seek revenge. This is why the powerless stay powerless. They comfort themselves with destiny instead of seizing control. They worship fate instead of building fortresses. They drown in fortune's flood, praying that the river meant well. Modern proof. Look at modern life. The employee passed over for promotion says, "It wasn't meant to be," instead of realizing he failed to make himself indispensable. The entrepreneur who loses everything says, "It wasn't my time," instead of learning from mistakes and adapting. The betrayed lover says, "Everything happens for a reason," instead of examining why they ignored red flags. Each time, the lie soothes the pain, but kills the lesson. Machiavelli would call this self-inflicted defeat. The Machiavellian counter. So what is the counter? Ruthless realism. When disaster strikes, do not look for destiny, look for cause. Ask, why did this happen? What did I ignore? Where was I weak? Who betrayed me? And why did I let them get close? And then act. Build stronger walls. Train harder. Choose allies more carefully, because every disaster contains lessons, but only if you refuse the drug of fate. Machiavelli wrote, "Fortune controls half of our actions, but leaves the other half to us. The weak surrender their half. The strong claim it." The uneasy realization. Ask yourself honestly, how many times have you numbed yourself with this lie? How many times have you whispered, "It wasn't meant to be," when the truth was that you failed to prepare, failed to act, or failed to see? Every time you do, you trade power for comfort. You trade responsibility for illusion. And every trade makes you weaker. The fourth challenge. Here's your challenge. The next time something goes wrong, refuse to say, "Everything happens for a reason." Instead, ask, "What must I do so this never happens again?" This mindset transforms disaster into fuel. It takes fortune's chaos and bends it into your strength. It is the difference between drowning in the flood and building the dam. Now, we arrive at the most ruthless truth of all. Once you strip away the lies, once you see the world as it is, harsh, unfair, chaotic, what do? You build your throne of power. You become untouchable. This is part 5, the Machiavellian path to reclaiming power once the lies have been destroyed. Reclaiming the throne of power. We've torn apart 4 dangerous lies: that good things come to those who wait, that everyone deserves respect, that being yourself is enough, that everything happens for a reason. Each of these is comforting, each feels safe, but safety is an illusion, and illusions are prisons. Now the question is, once you've stripped these illusions away, what do you do? How do you live in a world where patience is weakness, respect is currency, authenticity is performance, and fortune is chaos? The answer is as ruthless as it is liberating. You build your throne of power brick by brick until you are untouchable. Step 1. Seize opportunity. Relentlessly, Machiavelli said, "Fortune is like a woman. She favors the bold. If you hesitate, she passes you by. If you wait, she finds another." So the first rule is simple: seize. Every day presents opportunities, small or large, to gain advantage, to build, to move forward. Most ignore them, waiting for destiny. You will not. Every bold action you take builds momentum, and momentum is power. Step 2. Command respect. Don't beg for it. Respect cannot be asked for politely. It must be demanded through strength, enforced through consequence, and maintained by consistency. Set boundaries. Enforce them without hesitation. Punish disrespect swiftly. Reward loyalty visibly. Let people know through action that your respect is valuable and costly, not cheap and automatic. Remember Machiavelli's law. It is better to be feared than loved. You don't have to be cruel, but you must be unyielding. Fear ensures permanence. Love fades with convenience. Step 3. Master the mask. Your true self is yours to protect. The world sees only what you choose to reveal. So, craft your mask carefully. Appear virtuous, competent, and strong. Let them see discipline, not weakness. Let them see certainty, not doubt. Reveal flaws only when it strengthens you, never when it disarms you. Think of power as theater. Everyone else is acting anyway. pretending to be nicer, smarter, or stronger than they are. The difference is you'll act with precision, not delusion. Machiavelli wrote, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." Master this truth, and perception itself becomes your weapon. Step 4. Control what you can. Adapt to what you cannot. Fortune controls half your life, but the other half is yours. Most surrender both halves. They give up to chance, and they refuse responsibility. You will not. You will prepare ruthlessly, train relentlessly, and adapt swiftly. When fortune strikes, and it will, you will bend but not break, because you built dams before the flood, because you expected chaos and sharpened yourself against it. The weak hope, the strong prepare. The prince within. At this point, you may be asking, isn't this exhausting? To always seize, always guard, always calculate? Yes. But power has never been for the lazy. Machiavelli's wisdom was not written for everyone. It was written for princes, for those who dare to rule themselves and others. To live by these truths is to live as a ruler in a world of followers. And make no mistake, the majority will remain followers, slaves to the lies. They will keep waiting, respecting indiscriminately, being themselves without strategy, and surrendering to fate. That is why they will never rise. That is why you can. Historical reminder. Look back at history's survivors, the rulers who endured centuries, the generals who conquered empires, the families who built dynasties. Did they wait for good things to come? No, they took them. Did they respect everyone equally? No, they demanded respect and enforced it. Did they just be themselves? No, they shaped their image like armor. Did they trust destiny? No, they fought fortune with preparation. Their names endure because they lived without illusions. The uneasy truth. If you adopt this path, you will lose certain comforts. You will no longer soothe yourself with lies. You will see the world with ruthless clarity. That clarity will make others uncomfortable. They will call you cold, calculating, even dangerous. They will accuse you of being Machiavellian as if it were an insult. But you will know the truth. It is not an insult. It is a crown. Your throne awaits. So the final challenge is this. Today, not tomorrow, begin living as if you are the ruler of your own life. Stop waiting. Act. Stop giving free respect. Demand it. Stop oversharing. Control your image. Stop believing in fate. Take responsibility. Each small step is a brick in your throne, and soon you will look around and realize you are no longer prey. You are no longer one of the powerless. You are the hunter, the ruler, the prince. Now it's your turn. In the comments, declare which lie you've fallen for the most and how you plan to shatter it. Do you think Machiavelli was right, or was he too ruthless? Your answer will reveal more than you think. And remember, this channel is not for the faint-hearted. It is for those who dare to see the world as it truly is, not as they wish it to be. So subscribe to Ruthless Psychology and join a community that uncovers the hidden rules of power, control, and influence. Because the world is ruled by those who refuse to live in illusions. Will you be one of them?